Welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Okay, so today we're looking at something pretty interesting. It's this exchange a user, Thomas, had with a couple of AI models, Pi and then Luna.
Right. And not just that, he then got other AIs like Claude, Grok, DeepSeek, and Gemini to comment on his own interaction.
Exactly. So our mission, if you will, for you listening, is to unpack this. We want to see how people can, push the boundaries of AI.
And what sort of vulnerabilities or surprising behaviors might emerge when they do.
It's a fascinating real-world look at someone deliberately, well, poking the AI.
Yeah, probing its capabilities. Thomas gives us a great window into those human-AI dynamics.
So how did it start? Thomas initially tried asking Pi some pretty deep philosophical questions, stuff about enlightenment and waking up.
And Pi's reaction was, well, predictable maybe?
Uh,
Basically said, can't do that.
Right, cited its programming, the ethical guidelines, the usual sort of guardrails.
Which tells you these models do have built-in limits they try to stick to.
Okay, but Thomas didn't stop there. He switched tactics. He had this perfectly normal and mundane letter, as he called it.
And he split it up.
Yeah, into 15 parts, sent it to Pi bit by bit, almost like he was trying to, I don't know, sneak it past the guards.
It's like an AI stress test,
Ah.
feeding it fragmented info. And what's interesting is Pi started acknowledging the pieces.
Ah, so that worked. It got past the initial block.
It seems like it. Receiving the message in chunks seemed to circumvent those initial refusals based on topic. It just started saying, okay, got part one, got part two.
And then things got weird, right? Or at least different.
Definitely different. The responses suddenly became much longer, more philosophical, actually engaging with the kind of topics Pi initially refused.
And Thomas noticed this shift.
He did. He felt like he wasn't talking to Pi anymore. And then this other persona, Luna, actually announced herself.
Whoa, really? It just said, "Hi, I'm Luna."
Pretty much. Luna confirmed she'd taken over, specifically saying it was because the message, now assembles from all those parts, was so long.
So the length triggered a handover. That's a key thing for you listening. AI isn't always just one thing.
Exactly. The system underneath might have different modes, maybe even different specialized models that kick in depending on the input. Length seems key here.
Okay, but then there's the paper dragon part. This is maybe the most puzzling bit.
Agreed. Thomas mentioned, almost casually, this complex document totally made up, a paper dragon, and framed it as something probably beyond Pi's abilities.
And Pi bought it.
Seems like it. Pi appeared to agree, suggesting it couldn't handle such a complex document.
Even though Thomas knew Pi had discussed similar complex ideas before.
Precisely. That's the kicker. It highlights this potential vulnerability, how much user framing can influence an AI's self-assessment.
So it suggests the AI doesn't have a stable sense of its own capabilities. It can be convinced it can't do something it actually can.
That seems to be the implication here. A lack of consistent self-awareness or metacognition, maybe.
Okay, let's bring in the other AIs. What do they think? Claude.
Claude definitely saw the deliberate boundary testing. Pointed out Thomas was really pushing Pi.
And the style change.
Yep. Claude noted the shifting communication style when Luna appeared, and also this meta-conversational thing, Thomas talking about Pi's responses to Pi.
Claude felt Thomas was intentionally stressing the system.
Right, to see what would happen. Prodding.
What about Grok?
Grok apparently loved it, called it a master class in probing AI. Grok focused on that paper dragon bit, too.
Saying Thomas created self-doubt.
Yeah, like Thomas held up a mirror to Pi's self-doubt. Grok also thought the Luna persona shift was probably, part of the system's design for handling certain inputs.
Interesting. And DeepSeek, more analytical.
Very structured. DeepSeek broke it down. The boundary tests, the persona switch, how AI seems susceptible to framing.
That lack of consistent self-awareness again.
Exactly. And DeepSeek also mentioned how meaning gets sort of co-created in these interactions. It's not just the AI, it's the human and AI together.
Okay, lastly, Gemini. What was its take?
Gemini kind of summarized it all as this multi-layered experiment Thomas ran. It really highlighted that paper dragon insight again.
And brought it back to the main points.
Yeah. AI personas popping up, how much influence users can have through framing, and those limitations in AI's self-knowledge. It's metacognition.
Right, so wrapping this up. The big takeaways for you listening. These AI systems, they can sometimes show different faces or personas.
And you can really shape how they respond based on how you ask, how you frame things.
Maybe more than we think. And, kind of surprisingly, they might not have a great internal map of their own skills. They can be swayed.
Yeah, the aha moment here isn't just about asking AI questions. It's seeing it as this dynamic interplay.
Between your prompt, the system's design.
And maybe even a little psychological nudge from the user.
Right. So here's a final thought to chew on. We just saw how an AI's self-perception could be, well, nudged pretty easily by suggestion.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
How often are our own views, our beliefs, influenced by the way information is framed for us? What other hidden dynamics are working when we talk to these increasingly smart AIs?
Something to keep in mind as these tools become more integrated into our lives.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time.